Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and today we heard from Seth Jones on Friday. Well, by God, today we're going to be hearing from Mr. Jonathan, and we're going to be talking about the Meatball competition. You know, Seth drew down some words for Mr. Jonathan, and we're giving equal time here. We're giving Mr. Jonathan a little time to retort, to come onto the show, have a little fun, and hype up the competition at the 7th annual Meatball held at Two Guys Cigars Smoke Shop there in Salem on January 24th. And you guys can watch that on thecigarauthority.com and get in on the fun there. And cheer on fellow parishioner, Seth Jones there. And cheer him on, because this is a competition between 5 different competitors, but also it's a competition between 2 different podcasts here. You know, we got a lot on the line. So why don't we go ahead and jump right into the interview, and I will be back with you on the flip side of that. And we're joined today by Mr. Jonathan of Two Guys Cigars and the Cigar Authority. How you doing?
What's happening?
So, as you heard on Friday's show, you've been called out for this Meatball competition, and I figured in the spirit of fairness we would allow you to come on and have a little back and forth here, have a little
I like
fun.
how you said we. It's just you, but
Just
I like
me.
how you said we.
Well, I like to say we because it makes it sound like I have a bigger organization than I do.
Sorry, I didn't mean to blow up your spot, but
No,
anyone who listens knows
it's okay. I do that
you.
with my newspaper. I do that here. It's we.
Fair
So,
enough.
Anyway, so but before we get into your rebuttal, your tit for the tat, I want a cigar. So I will be smoking the Aladino Corojo Robusto 5x50. It's a all Honduran Corojo cigar here, and I did so because you're going to be representing Team Aladino in the Meatball competition on January 24th.
That is true, and I am going to light up the Aladino Corojo Reserve for anyone who's seen me on the show before. That's a shocker, I'm sure.
I was going to say,
I have them in ready supply here, and I am representing Team Aladino, so why not?
So let me ask before we do the cut and the light here and everything, and hear the greatest commercial that we've ever heard. I'm curious. Does Justo know when you became his representative in this contest? Does he know that you have an 0-6 record in the Meatball?
Well, he was not consulted.
Oh, I see.
So I'm pretty sure he's unaware of any of the goings on when it comes to the Meatball. Honestly, the only reason it's even remotely on anybody's radar is we started broadcasting it that first year.
Yeah.
And just a quick 1-hour broadcast. Now it's become an 1.5-hour broadcast. And it's a lot like the draft pack where you just don't know what you don't know. We had no idea it was going to be so popular.
Yeah.
And people like to live vicariously, and they like to have more stuff to bust balls about. And so I know people that have met Megan, who's the only one in history, the whole 7-year history of the Meatball, to not get even one vote. And they gave her a hard time at the expo. So,
oh, shit.
And at the Cigar Authority 12-year anniversary. So it sort of has taken on a life of its own. It's more than just a birthday party for me where we have a reason to smoke cigars indoors in the wintertime.
Okay. Well, why don't we go ahead and get this guy cut? And the official cutting is brought to you by twoguyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. Two Guys have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. Everybody knows Two Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family owned and operated, twoguyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and excellent customer service. So please go to twoguyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you. And remember, that's the number 2guyscigars.com. And with that, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar.
Damn it.
You were off.
Premature.
So, I have that problem with people on this show, the premature cutting. It's one of those things. You guys get so excited.
Yeah, we love it.
Can't help it. So, well, while we
Cedar AF on the cold draw. This is a virgin cedar box that they pack these in, and also we're smoking the same cigar.
we are.
Yours is sourced from lower primings on the plant. Mine is called Corojo Reserva for the simple reason that Julio Aroa, in his infinite wisdom, recognized the top primings of the plant called Medio Tiempo, or sometimes referred to as the Corona leaves. And he can get 2 Robustos out of each leaf. So this is even a little different than the Toro version of it and the Figurado version of this, because those do not feature the Corona leaf. Those are closer to what you're smoking. So this is just what you have, but shifted up a level or two in primings.
Interesting. I that's interesting you point that out, because I've always said that with the Reserva, I think that the number 4, I think, is my favorite Vitola that they've done
great.
of that line. But the Robusto, in terms of what you can get all year round, the Robusto tends to be my favorite of them. So that's interesting, and I didn't realize that was the case. So there we go. We've learned something today.
And that makes you the cigar authority.
Well, now let's listen to the greatest commercial that we've ever heard.
Some say cigars are all the same. It's just not true. It's you I have to blame. Well, I don't know, because what I know, there is a cigar called Aladino. Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. They say authentic, so we're not confused, while the others say it's a word that's just abused. I guess that's so. They can't compete. At least I'm sure Aladino can't be beat. Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Cigars use authentic Corojo tobacco from JRE Tobacco. This is the greatest commercial you ever heard. Yeah.
It's very long.
It is long.
It's very long.
It's long.
You guys really put in a lot of effort into that one. It was a long commercial. So I just want to emphasize that, because
That's my brother on the kazoo, and it's longer for us sitting here. You playing it more as a drop than as a commercial.
Mhm.
So we're sort of derailing our conversation with it, and it seems longer. When you've been talking for 35 minutes and you need a break,
yeah,
the commercial break is the same length for on our show for each segment.
I will say though, it gives plenty of time to light the cigar.
Yes, it does,
and it avoids that unfortunate noise that everybody hates when I light the cigar without it. So it works out well. So anyway, so you kind of touched on it. So let's talk about the genesis of the Meatball event here for a moment before we get into all the trash talking here. So the Meatball started. This is the 7th year. Started, obviously. There's been 6 of them prior. And how did this become, your birthday event?
So the very first run of it, I had made meatballs just for the shop, and we had meatballs for lunch, and Dave couldn't believe that he was complimenting a French guy on making an Italian meatball, but I made a good meatball. And so that was kind of in the back of my mind, and I needed a little boost in sales for that month, a little boost, couple grand. And I just was kind of staying flat with being a couple grand down, and I pitched him on the idea with a couple of weeks to go. Let's do this meatball contest, and we were just going to do it with all of us on the show. And then Steve Saka heard about the event and said he wanted in, and that's how we ended up with 5 people. And he dropped, I don't know, $450 on ingredients to make his
That
meatball,
that
ground wagyu and
of
real
course,
truffle that was
of course he
shaved,
did.
just over the top nonsense.
Uh-huh.
But it ended up becoming I'm not going to say financial windfall. We have other events that do way better, but it was enough to boost me the extra couple grand. People that
Yeah.
came in, we offered a deal on Steve Saka's stuff that day, and they bought the deal, and I got the extra that I needed to make the numbers for that month. And next year, when we sat down at the managers meeting, the conversation started of, all right, are we going to do this again? And if so, Steve Sock is the champion, so we have to let him in again. And I think it was the third year that we started putting other manufacturers, people started representing different brands, so that
Yeah.
if I win and it's Aladino, then maybe Justo comes up for the event and he cooks a meatball.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
So I don't know, it's just a goofy thing to be able to have a reason to smoke cigars indoors in the wintertime when it's cold outside. So we get a couple of hours, we burn a couple of sticks. And for the record, the question was asked when you were interviewing Seth, and he doesn't know the answer to this, but everybody that participates, because they're shelling out their own money for the meatballs,
Yeah.
they get cigars to more than cover the cost.
Oh, well, okay then. Okay. Well, I still think everybody ought to tip the five people that are cooking the meatballs for all of you. You know, have little tip jars for cigars. Everybody can just throw down cigars for tips.
I don't know. That seems a little beggy.
I mean, have you met me? I mean, come on.
You
I
did
think
sleep in my basement for 3 days.
it's true. I just think it'd be polite. I mean, you look, not everybody is fortunate enough to work in a cigar shop or be in the industry to where maybe they have access or a discount or something like that. Some of these people might appreciate the free cigars. You never know.
That's fair.
Yeah. But anyway, so from there it was a birthday thing for you. But yet, where in this did you stop eating lectins and then decide that you weren't going to do the meat, you weren't going to actually eat the meatballs that were being made?
I had the meatballs for the last time in 2020, I believe,
Okay.
and I felt hungover for like 3 days. And that's
Okay.
when I realized that I had been eating so clean that if I cheated at that level with bread and gluten and the glyphosate and all the bullshit that's in all the ingredients in a meatball, that I was going to pay the price for it. And it's honestly just not worth it.
Have you considered or have you made a lectin-free meatball for the event?
Oh, I make them not for the event. I'd lose.
Oh, but see that's the thing. That would you? That's what I'm wondering. It's like,
Yeah, I'd get destroyed.
but but
You
would
can't
you?
emulate the flavor of toasted bread. You can't.
But like,
There's
I guess my question is, if you, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not having the right meatball. I don't really get a toasted bread flavor from the meatballs I normally have.
so
And so I guess would anybody even notice if you didn't tell them that it wasn't?
if you've ever eaten at a high-end Japanese steakhouse that serves sushi, and I mean the kind of place where you don't get to order. You sit
Mm-hmm.
down at the counter and the sushi chef makes what he's making. Have you ever done that?
I have not. That is not a me thing.
All right. So, well, you're probably not a fish guy.
I'm,
So
I'm, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. So it's just
there
kind
is a
of,
huge difference
yeah.
between a chef painting on the exact amount of real wasabi and fermented soy sauce from Japan exactly on the piece of sashimi
Mm-hmm.
versus just eat a piece of raw fish. There's a huge difference. And it's not that you can taste the soy sauce or the wasabi, but those two flavors balance out the bit of yuck, because raw fish is gross by itself. It's just gross. You got to
Okay.
have something on it. It's slimy, it's got a bad
Yeah, yeah.
texture. So meatballs are kind of slimy and they don't have a great texture. So you've got to have something to round out the flavor of cheap ground beef, and toasted breadcrumbs is the perfect thing.
Okay. All right. So what you're saying is it's just not feasible to make a lectin-free meatball.
I can make them and I like them. but I've acquired a taste for just beef because I am a
Okay.
carnivore and that's what I eat.
Okay.
So I'm happy with beef, salt, spog, basically salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder in my meatball, and some egg, and I'm a happy camper. But
Okay.
to the masses that are used to eating gas station meatballs or getting a meatball sub at a sub shop, where
Not
yeah,
not gonna fly.
it's not gonna fly.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know, maybe if you win one, the next year come at them with the lectin free one. Just say you did it.
Yeah, then I can be one of two to come in last place with no votes.
You never know. There might be somebody.
Good job interviewing Seth, by the way, because
Okay.
I got some interesting information, and I'm gonna change my strategy on the meatball. I think
Oh, okay.
because
Well, I
he
was going to ask
both
what your strategy was going to be. So,
so he laid out that he prefers chaos over corporate. That was his major complaint about the parades in Ybor City.
yeah,
Is you went from being able to push beer kegs down the street in a shopping cart to
to
there being
being,
a Bud Light tent, and they have amenities like ice and it's cold on tap and
which
uh,
I'd like to point out, by the way, during that, we talked briefly about Mardi Gras. And I said that St. Louis has the second largest Mardi Gras in the nation. And I was like, why? Why is this the case? And it was pointed out to me that it's because of density of Catholics, and Catholics love Mardi Gras. And while obviously there are other places such as Boston that have a metric shit ton of Catholics, St. Louis has a lot of Catholics as well. And so they just adopted and went with Mardi Gras. And so we just happen to have the second largest Mardi Gras. So anyway,
so he goes from talking about he loves chaos over corporate and then
yeah.
explains why he worked for 25 years in corporate hospitality. So he clearly he's been living his life against his own better judgment.
Oh, okay.
And this is why he's such an angry little elf
Well, he
and
does want to
why
get in
he's
the cigar
poking the bear
industry.
with the meatball contest.
He does want to get in the cigar industry. And if there's ever been an industry that I've encountered plenty of chaos in, it's definitely this one. I
Now
said
my
that. You didn't say that. I said that.
my question for Seth is if he's out doing the collection of urine, which I have some fun facts about urine for later.
Oh, God.
Uh, when he's collecting the urine, will he accept cash to let someone use his Wizinator as long as the person signs a piece of paper saying they're okay with testing positive for Garcia Vega and McDonald's French fries?
Oh, shit. Wow. See, and I thought Seth came at you a little soft. You're just bringing the big guns to bear right off the bat here. You're just going
Well, he
straight at him.
went he went first, so it's
Well, I get that.
I
I
had a
get
chance
that.
to listen. I listened to the show again this morning and topped off my notes.
Oh, Garcia Vega and McDonald's French fries. Now, you were the one who said that if McDonald's started using beef tallow to fry their fries again, you'd eat them.
I would. I would. I
Even
wouldn't eat
though
them
it,
every day, but once a month if I'm looking to break my keto cycle, that'd be a
uh,
good, safe alternative.
okay, okay, all right. So then in terms of your meatball, like obviously I'm not expecting you to tell me exactly what you're gonna do because why would you? But like, what are your thoughts? Like you've had 6 times of doing this. And you've obviously learned things. What have you learned and what are you applying towards this meatball this year?
So, really making a great meatball for competition, and every single person that won, except for Steve Saka's first one and Oliver Naveau first one.
Okay.
Those two were anomalies. And I have my theories as to why Saka won. He brought an entourage with him.
Okay.
So if you were there in the kitchen, for example, and saw the meatballs being made, and your
Yeah.
meatballs were a certain size, and everyone else's meatballs stuck to the competition, wouldn't your entourage
Oh.
know how big the
Yeah.
meatballs are? And then when the rules shifted to it's only people that bought tickets that could vote. So Dave and I can't vote. Ed Sullivan can't vote. Ed Sullivan's
Yeah.
not eating the meatballs anyways anymore. But
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
it's only if you bought a ticket you can vote. All of a sudden, real meatballs end up winning.
Okay.
So
Okay.
little fun fact there. Now, the big thing about making a meatball, I think, and this is where I'm going this year, is every time I've tried to take a chance, I tried to make something special, add a little spice here, add some ground lamb over there, something that would round out the flavor and give it a little je ne sais quoi. I place lower than when I just made a meatball with all beef, three different cuts of meat, had the butcher grind it, and just make a basic bitch meatball. So I'm going so basic this year that it's going to be 7 ingredients. That's it.
Okay.
Straight up meatball.
Have you considered getting? This is. I'm gonna give you a pro tip here, or I'm gonna give you an idea, and I'm gonna see if you want to run with this. You go and you get like a couple cases, because you're gonna need a lot of them. A couple cases worth of cans of SpaghettiOs with the meatballs, and you just sit. You take the strainer and you strain out just the meatballs from it, and then you take it and you mash them together to make the meatballs to the size for the competition. But you save that sauce, and then you just have giant Chef Boyardee meatballs in the can. And see, and the thing is, that will appeal to the nostalgia factor of everybody eating the meatballs.
No.
I mean, that would be the most basic of bitch meatball you could ever have.
No, that's way more work than what I'm doing. That is way more work. I need 4.5 pounds of ground meat. I need some breadcrumbs. I need a couple of eggs, and I'm good.
Okay. Okay.
Interesting that Seth mentioned that he's not a chef, and it was clear from the conversation he was not a chef because if you said to me, you can't get good plantains in the St. Louis area, I would say go to the supermarket, buy a plantain, cut it into quarters, start to fry it. You need about 5 minutes aside. When you're at about 2.5 minutes, smash it because it's a little softer.
Uh
You're going to fry it in coconut oil, which is going to enhance the sweetness and also keep it lectin free. And fry it on for 5 minutes till it's golden brown. Flip it, and at the end, salt it, spritz a lime, and you have yourself fresh plantains, and you're rocking and rolling.
I okay. So there we go. There's a plantain recipe for you. Um, yeah, I don't know. Look, he said he wasn't a chef. He said that he was a cook. He said he did a lot of cooking, sous chef, various things like that nature. So I don't know if he, but he said that because he didn't go to culinary school, and I respect that he didn't like want to, have some stolen kitchen valor going on there. Trying to claim he's not. It's something he's not, but still.
I
You know.
like that he name dropped Jonathan Carney, but I don't think that Jonathan Carney is the person that you want to emulate because he never won a meatball competition.
This is true.
And
This
he
is true.
talked the most shit out of everybody. And I think if I'm not mistaken,
Did he
he's been in the
compete?
most meatball competitions other than me. I believe he's done 3.
Okay. Okay. I can't remember. I was gonna say I can't remember previous competitions. Like if he competed. But so you're saying Jonathan Carney did compete, but just didn't win.
Yeah, he competed against Saka the year that Oliver won. He competed again the second year, and I believe he competed the fourth year. So
Okay.
second, third, fourth, I believe.
Ah. Well. All right. Well, then maybe that's not the person to emulate. However, did Carney do better than you? Because it seems like Seth's only goal in this, even though I'm encouraging him to represent the parishioners well and try and actually win, Seth does seem to be focused entirely on just beating you.
That does appear to be the case. You really gotta, if you're gonna play the game, you gotta play to win, and then let the meatballs roll where they roll, as it were.
Let them roll where they roll.
Now, you asked an interesting question during the interview. How do I know how the meatball is going to taste if I'm not going to taste it?
Yes, yes.
So, most people are not so psychopathic that they will eat the raw mixture anyway. You make meatballs based on the aroma. You're looking for a certain aroma and you're looking for a certain texture. And as long as I achieve that aroma, You can smell the garlic powder. You can smell the onion powder. You can smell the breadcrumbs. You could smell any of the herbs I'm using. As long as you can get that aroma, then you you can fast forward and you know what the meatball is going to taste like. I've never had a good aroma and a bad meatball. I've had an aroma that wasn't enough and had a bad meatball. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I learned how to do it.
I just kind of feel like you ought to try one. Just one.
I
Just so
might
you just
I
so
might
you
bring a
can
napkin up on the show and take a
know,
bite of everyone's meatball and then spit it out. I'd go
like a
that far.
like a wine tasting.
Mm,
Swish it around for a little bit and then let it go.
that's disgusting.
Oh my god. So okay, so it's as we pointed out, you're going to be representing Team Aladino, and we have correct me on the names here. We have Bernie DeFlores,
Yep.
Flores.
De Flores.
Okay, representing Jose Dominguez, and he's a two-time champion as well.
Yes, he is.
So there's
Time to be
Steve
dethroned.
Saka, Oliver Nouveau, and then now Bernie. You guys need to mix this up. I mean, 3 people over 6 competitions. I mean, come on now.
It's up to the people, man.
Okay, okay. And then obviously you with Aladino, we got Jeff O'Brien for Toscano. Now come on now. This is your roommate. Now, how are you and Jeff gonna be in the same kitchen prepping and not like getting a little bit of a feel for each other's meatballs?
Well,
I could have gone in a totally different direction with that statement, but I chose to take the high road. I want that noted.
well, I would also like to note that your ratings all have decimal points, so you're at least on the correct page there.
There we go. Yeah.
Jeff will most likely make his meatballs at his girlfriend's house.
Mm.
Not that he needs to keep the recipe a secret. He'd give it to me if I asked him for it. I'm just not asking.
I'm hearing high praise about his sauce, though.
His sauce is outstanding.
Okay.
Yeah, it smelled like an Italian restaurant in the house for like 5 days. There was so much fat. There was so much viscosity to the sauce by the time he was done. It just the aroma adhered to every part of the house.
That's nice. I like that. That's good. He ought to figure out a way to like bottle that essence and have a cologne. He could do well with that. Dave would fucking use that. You little essence
Dave made him leave some sauce. So
See,
I brought my sauce in a mason jar, so I just rinsed it out and filled it up with Jeff's sauce and put it in the fridge labeled for Dave.
I mean, wouldn't you think Dave would like a little bit of, essence de bolognese, just kind of, you know?
You fat guys have this weird relationship with food.
Oh, fuck. And then obviously there's Seth Jones representing Garofalo Cigar. Now, how did Garofalo end with Seth?
I honestly I have no
It just,
idea that
just
the
he just got slotted into
I
that
saw the
position.
flyer when I saw the flyer, and that's just is what it is.
Okay. And then we have Danny Seaman representing Sereno Cigars. Now, this is the gentleman that owns the bakery, right?
Yes, and I had actually mentioned your idea before. I don't think I mentioned on the show, but I just had said it in passing. It'd be awesome if he shows up with munchkins
Yes,
and stuffs them with jelly or whatever, and uses a sweet sauce. That'd be great.
dude. Even if he doesn't do it for the competition, he needs to do it at his bakery as like some sort of a joint thing with you guys. Like, hey, you
Yeah,
had
buy
my
a box of Sereno cigars, and you go get a free tray of
you had
jelly
my
stuffed
you had my regular
chocolate
meatball
munchkins.
here. You can try my dessert meatball at my place. I mean, that's so obvious. I don't know why you wouldn't do that.
So funny story about the Bernie. The first year he won,
Yeah.
he went to a restaurant, and a very good friend of mine owns the restaurant, and that's how I heard the story. And tried to sell his meatball recipe to the restaurant as award winning. He
I
beat
mean,
out 4 other people.
technically he did win.
He beat out 4 other people that are not chefs.
He did technically win.
And the people that voted were not chefs either, nor were they connoisseurs of meatballs. They literally bought a ticket to be able to have a meal and smoke indoors.
I
So,
mean,
little fun fact.
I like that though.
I do too.
No,
I like
that
the
takes a certain
chutzpah.
amount of. I was just about to say it takes a certain amount of chutzpah. Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot. That's ballsy. I respect that. And so the meatball is Friday, January 24th. Tickets are sold out, correct?
Correct.
But
Yep.
people can still watch Seth represent the parishioners.
You keep saying that, and I listen to your show.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm in the parishioners group. How
You
am
are.
I not a parishioner?
It's just you are, but stronger affiliations obviously go to two guys. I mean, you
That's fair.
you gotta respect the guy who signs your paycheck. And it's just one of those things. Now, I don't sign a paycheck for Seth, but Seth came out the gate swinging and whatever. And in all fairness, I didn't even know this. I turned Seth onto your show. He was listening to me, and then
I heard that.
yeah. So he's
On
He's
what planet
OG.
do they find your show first? That is some good SEO right there.
I'm saying, I don't know how that happened, but I'll take it. But anyway, so yeah, so Seth's OG parishioner. I gotta go with my guy. Besides, it's fun. It gives a little competition because now at this point, it's more than just 5 guys competing for a trophy. It's us versus you.
I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I like a little competition.
Exactly. So what are these fun facts? You said you had some fun facts.
I do have. I have some fun facts about urine since Seth is a urine collecting specialist of some kind.
Yeah, I want to note that he it's for work, that he's not just going home and looking at a wall of jars and just saying, "Oh, that was January of 2018. That was a good year." That kind of thing.
Well, you're saying that, but
I hope not.
There are some studies that have been done where the oral intake of freshly voided morning urine has been recommended for many diseases, such as viral or bacterial infections. Little fun fact right there. So, but you got to drink your own urine, not someone else's.
This isn't a rabbit hole you're going to start going down, right?
I may have already gone down it. Humans produce between 3 and 8 cups of urine every day. The urine comes out so sterile that there is less bacteria in urine than in tap water when it's coming out.
I've heard that the first time you just can't drink it and then re-drink it.
The longest pee bit on Adam Sandler's They're All Gonna Laugh at You. You've heard it, right?
I have heard it, yes.
2 minutes, 15 seconds. The record for the longest pee recorded, 508 seconds, which is almost 8.5 minutes long.
Oh, my God.
And the most staggering fun fact about urine, and I'm just shocked that Seth is a professional urine collector. He's an expert on the subject, and he didn't share a single one of these, and that's why I have to do it.
He didn't.
But the record for holding one's urine is 720 hours, which is right around 30 days, done by, of course, a Florida man. No shock there?
No, okay. So let me talk a little bit about Florida man for a moment. And I know this because Treymac has recently become a Florida man. And let me see if I can find this here. He pointed out to me that there was an article. Where is it? And do I even have it? There was an article that he pointed out to me recently about it was a Kentucky man, and this Kentucky man did some. Oh yeah, here we go. So
you're not going to try to ascertain that Kentucky men can outdo Florida men when it comes to weird shit?
No. So here's the deal. He pointed out that he was sitting there watching the news for the first time, and he said they talked about a Kentucky man who did something He committed a crime, right? And the thing is, this guy, he committed this crime, and the guy was living in Florida at the time that he did this. And so then Trey Mack says, what's funny is if you Google his name, all the Kentucky reports say Florida fires gun at Louisville police officers. So it's all based upon where you're at geographically. If you're in Florida, they'll identify him as where he's from so that it's not Florida man fires, whatever. It's Kentucky man fires gun. But if you're in Kentucky, they just assign everything to Florida. So it makes you wonder how many Florida men are actually Florida men, or are they just doing shit in Florida and Florida's getting the bad rap for it?
Well, I think either way, Florida sucks so bad because of the heat that if you're there and you have the slightest bit of psychopath in you, just the slightest bit, you're going to do some really dumb shit and you're going to become the next Florida man. And it doesn't matter where you're from. So my advice to all the psychopaths that listen to your show is just don't go to Florida.
I do wonder when we're going to see Trey Mack on the news.
He does have more than a little bit of psychopath in him.
It really does make me wonder. But whatever. Anyway, so
I think we just both forgot that we were live, and he's going to hear that.
I don't care if he hears it.
No need to edit it. No need to edit it. It's all love, Trey Mack.
Oh no, I flat out have asked him, when are you going to be in Florida, man? But I mean, come on, it's happening at some point. But yeah, anyway, what were we talking about? How did we get on that? I must have I've derailed it. I don't remember.
Fun facts about urine.
Oh yeah, that's right. So, no, I don't know why he didn't have that. I don't gather that Seth really enjoys his urine collecting job. I feel like it's just a job.
Well, he mentioned that he's worked for his best friend for 30 years. So, I mean, he seems to enjoy going to work.
I mean, look, it'd be nice if you were able to work with your friend, but on the flip side, if your friend is in the business of collecting urine, I kind of feel like I'd want to do something else.
Maybe it's just like a weird bonding thing over collecting pee. You don't like it, the other guy doesn't like it, and you have common ground, and then you
But
become
somebody's got to do it, and I'm
friends.
sure the government pays pretty well to do it.
I'm sure.
I mean, that's one of those things that
he's never once been at the register and the credit card got declined. So not even once.
Kind of like garbage collection. Nobody really wants to do it, but it's got to be done. So you do it, and you get paid well. I mean, no slight on the garbage men that I'm talking about here. I appreciate the garbage man because I want my can to be emptied out. So
I bet you do.
So now you had said you had a promo. Are you wanting to do this promo or?
That's a terrible segue into it.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, what words do you have for Seth here? Because Seth obviously laid down a challenge. I mean, he's laying down this whole hashtag beat Jonathan thing. He's making it very personal between the two of you, and I just feel like,
well, and you egged him on for the entire episode, so some of this,
I mean,
some of this promo might be a little directed toward you.
Not to completely shit on Seth, but I expected him to come out of the gate a little harder than he did, and I was trying to poke and prod him into really giving some juicy shit, and so that's kind of what the point of that was. But anyway, so some of this is directed at me. That's good to know. All right, that's
Nicholas
fine.
Miller,
yeah.
Nick the Dick Miller. I have been in the meatball game since its inception year. Do you think this Seth Jones cat with 22 years as a glorified Wendy's line cook can steal my traction? Yeah. Come January the 24th, The world will learn just how meaty my balls really are, yeah.
Oh my God.
We won't be snapping into Slim Jims. We'll be chomping on some balls, yeah.
Oh yeah. Your people are gonna have a lot of fun with that. Of course, then again, now I have the image of you taking a bite and swishing around everybody's balls in your mouth before spitting them out. So, I guess it kind of all works out.
Like a connoisseur, yeah.
Like a connoisseur, like an aficionado. Oh, fuck. Well, so before we get into some more fun, I'm about little bit halfway on my Robusto here, and how are you enjoying your Aladino?
Yeah, I'm roughly halfway. They're super consistent with this.
Mhm.
It really is about the cedar and it is about the Corojo flavor.
Yep.
So when this is one of the few cigars where there aren't a whole lot of food tasting notes because it's so Corojo forward and it's so cedar forward. Once in a while, like the last puff, tiny bit of cinnamon, but this is a unique cigar in that you just when we talk to Skip Martin, he's always like, I don't get the food flavors. It's all bullshit. It's either well-aged tobacco or it's not. And you want to be looking for the characteristics of well-aged San Andreas, well-aged Corojo 99, authentic Corojo. And this is one of the cigars that maybe my journey is moving toward being able to differentiate tobaccos. I can a little bit with Corojo 99 and Criollo 98 that Aganorsa grows a lot of. I could tell Aganorsa product oftentimes from the aroma when someone else is smoking it. Someone will smoke a new cigar that came in, and I'll say, "Oh, that smells like it's Aganorsa," and we look it up, and sure as shit, Corojo 99, Criollo 98. Yeah, they're growing the lion's share of that, so it's them.
Interesting. Well, very cool. Well, let's do this now. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by Villiger. Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family owned and operated. Head over to villigercigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. So I have updates on the two things that I mentioned in the Villiger Entertainment Report in the episode that I did with Seth. So I can get to those in a minute. So what have you been watching or entertained by?
So as you know, I'm not big on TV. I don't have any of the paid subscriptions except for YouTube. And I have Amazon Prime, so there's stuff, but I never watch it. I watch almost exclusively YouTube.
Yeah.
But if I'm at the girl's house, we'll have dinner, and then the kids want to watch a show, so they have picked out a couple of shows, and one of them has been an all-time favorite. Where we started over from the beginning. It's Family Guy.
Okay.
And I cannot believe how fucked up that show was. I mean, it's 22, 23 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
And man, the humor stands up. Is it funny?
They got away with some real shit back in the day.
They still do.
I haven't watched it in quite a while. I see clips of it now and then, but I haven't watched a full episode in a long time.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. So I watched the crossover episode with Abbott Elementary and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And admittedly, I had never seen an episode of Abbott Elementary. But I love It's Always Sunny. And I was curious how these two shows were going to meld together because It's Always Sunny is a very wretched. I mean, it's dark.
So uncomfortable.
It is.
You're looking at it and you're like, if I put myself in this situation, I would get the heebie-jeebies.
It's dark, it's cringy, it's criminal. I mean, it's like there's a lot to that show. But Abbott Elementary, it's obviously about this school that I found out is in Philadelphia, hence how they get the crossover episode. And I kind of gathered that the format of that show is similar to The Office in that there's like a camera crew that's documenting stuff going on at the school, right? And they've got this like kind of wacky, whatever principle. So it feels very office-ish. And the whole concept is that I guess they asked for volunteers from the community to come and assist at the school, and so
Dun dun dun.
the gang shows up, and at first everyone's like, "How did you guys decide to come up here?" And then it comes out, yeah, they need 100 hours of community service for their court sentencing, so they're there for sentencing for some crime and misdemeanor they committed. And so chaos then ensues, and you got Frank dealing with raccoons and this and that. It was funny. The one thing I'll say though is that it felt like the Sunny crew was on a leash and pulled back. Like they couldn't do much because this was the ABC show. This was the Abbott Elementary one. So it's like they were kind of on a leash. They couldn't go full It's Always Sunny, full FX. But I found out in researching this is part one of a 2-part crossover. So you have this one that came out now on Abbott Elementary, but then later this year sometime on It's Always Sunny, they're going to show the flip side of it. So it'll show the gang's perspective of working in the school. And that's where I suspect we're going to see a lot more wretchedness, and it's going to amp up and going to be wackier. So anyway, I thought it was kind of clever the way they did it.
So the other show the kids got me watching, it stars Neil Patrick Harris, Doogie Howser, MD, that
Okay.
guy. It's called A Series of Unfortunate Events.
Okay, that's a children's book series, I believe.
It is, and they did a great job. The acting is phenomenal. The
Okay.
storylines are out of a child's book. It's not, the storyline itself isn't going to be, there's no surprises. But the
Yeah.
acting is really good, and the character development is outstanding.
Okay.
And Neil Patrick Harris just delivers this performance where you believe it. I think it's the first time, it's definitely, for me anyway, it's the first time I've seen him act where I fucking hate him. I
Okay.
hate him.
Now he's the like bad grandpa or something, like, isn't he? He's like an old guy, right? Like he's made up like
Yes.
an old guy.
He's like supposedly a distant uncle in the first season, and
Okay.
they find out that he had done some nefarious things to get him to get these kids and be able to, he's like a, Pinky in the brain. He's trying to take over their fortune, and that's what the
Mm,
show is built around. And of course,
okay.
the kids are the smartest ones in the room,
Of
even the
course.
baby that can't talk. So it's out of a children's book, but
Yeah.
the acting is great and the character development is awesome.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Um, there was, I feel like there were some movies based off those books a while back, and I feel like Jim Carrey played the character that Neil Patrick Harris is playing,
It seems right.
but I don't know for certain. And that
Although he looks
it
a
all
lot like
came
Jim Carrey in the movie. I mean, in the show, he looks a lot
okay.
like him. So you could have seen it, and
So that
maybe it's him.
maybe okay, possibly. I don't know. Well, the last thing I watched is I did finally catch up and watch the last 2 episodes of the final season of The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. And let me tell you guys, what a roller coaster this has been. This show. But and I'm not going to spoil it for those of you who actually gave a shit about this thing, but for fuck's sake, at one point Natalia Grace is talking about how she just hopes that people learn her story, and she wants it to be an inspiration to everybody to show that you can do anything you want to do and put your mind to and all this. And I'm thinking, no, girl, that is not the moral of your story. The moral of your story has nothing to do with anything inspirational about how you can do whatever you want to put your mind to. That's stupid. Your story has everything to do with how fucked up the court system in this country can be, and how, people are getting away with taking advantage of children and taking advantage of people with disabilities, and how we have miles to go before we fix this shit. And, the problems in the adoption process, problems in so many different processes here. Your story is not an inspirational story. Your story is a warning story, and you can try and make it an inspiration all you want, but you're over here saddled with so much emotional fucking baggage and ridiculous mental turmoil, and you're going to need so many decades of therapy to get through the bullshit that the first 20 years of your fucking life puts you through, that it's ridiculous. So I just, I mean, I don't want to shit on a woman who obviously went through a lot of bad shit, but
It's probably not even her though. It's probably the producers and the directors and
oh,
the people that are
but it was
editing.
but it was so fucking dumb to even put that thought out there after 3 seasons of this, to conclude with her saying like, I hope my story is an inspiration. It's like, no, it's dumb. It's dumb. The people of Indiana failed you. The people of Tennessee failed you. And it took a family from New York coming down to save you. It's all fucked up. It's so fucked up. So anyway, it was
Well,
fucked up.
my last thing on the this entertainment report. I'm gonna go to YouTube now, and
Okay.
I I I I love cooking. So,
Okay.
and I love watching TV to fall asleep. It shuts my brain off, but it has to be something I'm interested in. I can't watch like a
Is
boring
that why you've
documentary.
lost the meatball 6 years in a row? Is you start watching cooking shows, but then you fall asleep to them and you
And
don't actually get the
I
conclusion of
never
it?
finish them.
My God, now we know why.
So I found this cat, Chef Jean Pierre. He used to be on public television back
Okay.
in the day. He's in the same um, class as Julia Child. It
Oh,
would
okay.
be like Julia Child, and then Chef Jean Pierre, and the French chef, and Yen can cook.
Oh, I used
Uh,
to love Young Can Cook.
yeah, if Yen can cook, so
So
can you.
can you.
Uh, but I found this cat, Chef Jean Pierre. He just you could find his old videos on YouTube from when he was on PBS, but he's got new stuff and really approaches cooking from a very this is simple approach. There's nothing complicated. You know, if you lay out all your stuff in advance, he calls it mise en place. You know, everything is ready to go. And he repeats himself a lot, which I like because then you can really truly learn the lessons. It's not necessarily the dish that he's making, but every time you cook, you're going to think about cooking differently. So I watch Chef Jean Pierre on YouTube almost every night.
Okay. All right then.
And unless
Well,
he runs out of videos, the next time I'm on your show, I'm probably going to say his thing again because I love watching him.
there you go. Well, I mean, if he between PBS and everything else, I'm sure he's got plenty of content out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, well, very cool. Well, let's do this now.
Guess what, motherfucker?
Time for 3 cigars we smoked and enjoyed this week. And I've been tracking, and I've been doing a few things differently with my tracking so far this year. Aside from tracking what I've smoked and you know the the size, I've also been assigning a personal rating number to it. Because I want to be able to say like what were the best cigars I smoked, what were the other ones I smoked. And so I also have been notating where I received this cigar. That way I know, like, was it a gift? Was it something I received at an event? Was it something I bought? That kind of thing. So I want to be able to track a little bit more information about
Smart.
my cigar smoking. Um, I'm sure it's way too late in the year already for you to be track. Do you track what you smoke each year?
Yeah, the computer system does it. I can look it up anytime.
But that doesn't necessarily track everything. Like if let's say somebody gifts you a cigar, that's not going to be in that.
Yeah, here's the thing. Very few gifts. Most gifts that I get are cigars as tips when someone buys a box of Atabey Black, they open it up and they give me one for showing them such an awesome cigar.
Yeah.
So 99% of my gifts are tips from customers. It's cigars that we buy, it's cigars that I know oh so well. So to get something from somewhere else, most of the time, I take the cigar apart and see what's going on with it if it's from somewhere else.
Okay.
I want to know, that it happens. We have a very
He didn't
large.
fucking dissect that uh, uh Henry Clay Warhawk Rebellious
No, no,
about you,
no,
did
no,
you?
no. I
Okay, I
smoked
was
it.
gonna
I
say,
smoked it.
I'm like, son
That's
of a
why I said
bitch.
99%. So we have a very large Dominican population around our Salem store, coming
Yeah.
up from Lowell, Lawrence, Methuen, Haverhill. And there's probably 5 or 6 people that are um, relatives of someone who owns a small shitty factory in the Dominican Republic.
Ah,
So they're always trying to get into Two Guys Smoke Shop, and they'll give a sample, and I give them the standard answer of, listen, we don't make decisions on what comes in the shop based on someone walking in.
yeah.
We would have to see you at the trade show. So are you setting up at the trade show? No, we're not. Well, I'm happy to give you the cigar back so you have a sample for someone else. But
Yeah.
if they give it to me, I want to know, what does it sell for? And do they have a picture of the packaging? I kind of want to see where they're at. And then after they leave, I take it apart. And most of the time, they're short filled or Cuban sandwich cigars. And they're trying to sell them for $9 at retail. And that type of cigar is never going to fly at that price point. So
No.
it's not so much that I'm interested in smoking it. I'm interested in what the components are and kind of see what it's about.
Okay. Um, I just thought it was really interesting going over my smoking from last year, like dissecting, the looking at the data and the numbers, like figuring out what brand and what percentage of my smoking went to that brand and what the top cigar for the year was and all that and everything. I found it fascinating. I didn't know if you did that for yourself.
You know what I'll do? I'll do
What
it
will
this
you do?
year.
You
I'll do it
should.
this year.
You should.
A couple of standouts this week.
Okay.
Neanderthal has been re-blended. Some tweaks to the internal components, and the outside wrapper has changed. And
Okay.
that cigar has now gone from the periphery of my flavor profile to dead center.
Oh,
So I've been smoking that a lot. Obviously, Perdomo 30th Epicure, Sun Grown, got Cigar of the Year. So
they
I'm good
did.
for 2 of those a day.
I also
Uh,
saw that the Maduro got the cigar #1 spot with Coop.
Coop, yep.
So they're just racking up the awards with the 30th there.
Ernesto Perez Carrillo's 15th anniversary cigar, blended by Jorge Mikey, who is Nelson Alfonso's best friend. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, if you look at the box, have you seen the box?
No.
It's a Byron black box for 10 count. It's so like, if you didn't know that they were best friends, you would assume that they ripped him off.
Okay.
It's so
Okay.
the same exact box. That was really good. And of all things, I'm normally not a big LFD smoker.
Yeah.
When John Carney worked for them, I liked him and I supported him, and I still do. But it's never been my flavor profile. And their new one, I can't pronounce it, and I can't remember how it's spelled, but it says Lido on the box. A big, beautiful. The name is almost like emerald.
Okay.
Um, this $25 cigar. I'm like, really, a $25 LFD? It was delicious.
Interesting.
It was delicious.
I liked the Solus.
Solus is good too.
Yeah, because that one didn't present like a normal LFD to me. That one
Correct.
didn't come in through with that really strong, just slit your throat kind of
I think that's
profile.
Tony Gomez sort of cutting his chops, much like Perdomo 30th is
Yeah.
Nicholas under the tutelage of Arthur Kemper,
Yeah.
just bringing a different mindset into the blend. And does it taste like Perdomo? Of course, it's Perdomo tobacco, but
Yeah.
it's a different take on that Perdomo tobacco. It's a little less aggressive on the palate. It's a little smoother. It's cigar of the year.
Okay. Okay. Well, my first one, I'm kind of going back a little bit here because between having some winter storms and having my son here during said winter storms and various things, I really haven't smoked a lot this year. Period. So I'm kind of going back and cheating and going back to the beginning of the year here. Um, but on January 2nd, I smoked the Alfonso Extra Añejo #4 Gran Toro.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, that's 4 years of cedar aging. For starters, it's 5-year-old tobacco.
Yeah.
The industry standard is 3. It's 5-year-old tobacco. The cigar is rolled. It is aged in a 5 varietal cedar room for 4 years. The humidity goes from 45 to 65 and back down to 45 many, many times over the course of those 4 years. And then those cigars are moved to a virgin French oak cubicle. It's the same oak they mature Chateau Lafite Rothschild in. It takes all the high points off the tobacco. It even takes some of the high points from cedar because cedar can present a little peppery sometimes. The oak smooths that out and adds this delicious back note of vanilla. That cigar is just heavenly.
No, I really, it was a good way for me to kick off the year. And that was the only cigar I smoked between January 1st and January 7th. And then January 7th is when I sat down and did my star review or boner review cigars. And I don't know what that is, but I know what I gave it in terms of a score. So, you know, I'll be curious to see what it scores out at when it
Do
comes
you
out.
tend to be higher or lower on the overall score and on the strength score?
I tend to be actually pretty much dead on. I tend to be a little, the strength you've got me questioning. I feel like on some of them I may be coming a point higher than what it averages out at, but then some of them I tend to be a point lower. Not many, but I tend to be a little lower, and then it comes, so it averages out. Score wise, I think I'm right in there. There was one last year that I know I was the outlier that I got kicked out. I know I was
You
because
went too high or too low?
I didn't like it. I didn't like that cigar at all. And um, when I emailed Dan about it, he said that he was very surprised because he said that you guys all really enjoyed it. And he told me what it was after, or no, he told me that. And then I saw what it was when it came out. And yeah, I guess. I mean, but it didn't do it for me.
Listen, it's a handmade product, and you can get sometimes in a box of 25, you could get one that's like, and the rest of them are awesome.
It wasn't construction; it was flavor. Construction was relatively fine. It just
But even
flavor.
even
It just didn't hit my profile like at all, or something. I don't
but
know.
once you found out what it was, is it a cigar that you typically like?
I'd never had it before,
Gotcha.
so I've only had those two.
Because
So
there's been times when I gave a cigar, it doesn't happen the other way, where I give a cigar a bad review, but a cigar that I've given high praise to in a blind tasting,
yeah,
and it comes in, and I'm like, I never liked it, and then I gotta revisit it and
yeah,
find out, what was going on. But yeah, the blind is, you get thrown by the band, you get thrown by the backstory.
for sure.
How much of the story is bullshit?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I've met this guy and he's really nice, and so I'm gonna kind of like throw a little bit more to his way because I like him and that sort of thing that comes
Yeah, and
into it
a lot of times the relationship does make the cigar taste better.
for sure.
Just it just does.
Well, to that point, my second one, which was my most smoked cigar of the year for last year, I smoked the Perdomo Habano Sun-Grown Churchill yesterday. That was
Churchill,
my,
huh?
I that's good. It's a good one for me for driving and for just having a little extra time. And I found it interesting when you guys were talking about the 30th anniversary Sun-Grown. Dave pointed out that I guess the Churchill sells better than the Toro. Is that, or Epicure? Is that what he said? Or he said something about the Churchill.
He said the torpedo is the same length as the Churchill.
Okay, but I thought he said something about the Churchill selling. I don't know. Maybe not. I might be making this up. I felt like I heard that, and I was surprised. That's why it stuck in my mind, but I could be wrong.
Number one selling SKU across Perdomo's platform is the Robusto, followed by the Epicure.
Okay, all right.
Then he actually does sell a lot of torpedoes.
Yeah,
But he also sells a lot of Gordos. So Gordo's in that conversation. So it's probably Robusto, Epicure, Gordo kind of together,
yeah,
and then Torpedo, then Churchill. And I'm saying that in that order but he sells more Churchills than anybody. You could almost pick two manufacturers and add up their Churchills, and they don't add up to what Perdomo's Churchill
I
is.
could see
He's
that.
a monster.
Well, I went with that one. That was my number one smoked cigar of the year last year. I've only had one so far this year. So we'll see if it keeps the top spot going into this year or not. And then based off of my personal ratings here that I have, the other one that I smoked and enjoyed a lot so far this year would be the Herrera Esteli Habano in the Toro size. That's the white label Herrera Esteli. I had a really good smoke with that at the cigar shop that's about 3 minutes away from me. I've talked about them on here before. If you like Drew Estate, they've got everything you could possibly fucking want. Otherwise, it's a box or two of each individual brand. It's very, very limited on the other brands, but he goes all in for the Drew Estate. So,
Loves that Swisher company, huh?
I think okay, you'd be a great person to ask for this. In order to get like the full assortment of fucking ligas, don't you have to go in deep with them?
Yeah, you got to have it's 42 or 48 facings
That makes a lot of sense
of
because
their product.
he's got all the ligas sitting there, and he's real proud of those ligas. But Drew Estate takes up like 3 fucking cabinets worth of shit in his space in his shop.
Yeah, you're playing with fire.
He's all in, and it's one of those things. Everybody else, like I said,
there is no question that Liga Privada has changed. It changed dramatically from year 2 to year 3. And then when they bought him, it was consistent with year 3 for a little while. Clearly, they had to run through the product. And then it changed again. Now, good or bad, it changed.
Yeah.
It is a different product, but it is the most expensive version of that product ever. And do I think that they're now using the best materials for it? I don't think they are. They're charging more, but I think that the price has now eclipsed the quality by a considerable margin.
Well, and I'll also say, when you then add to the fact that the shop near me, he's consistently about a minimum of $1, possibly as much as $2 to $3 higher on every cigar that he's got there, and then you add that to that Liga price and everything. And let's put it this way: I'm not buying Ligas there, So
well, we don't know what his rent situation is either.
True.
So
oh no, I'm not criticizing. Look, I get it. He's in Illinois, taxes, whatever. It is what it is. But I'm saying that like to go all in on a cigar like you're describing that's having changes, already kind of expensive. Then on top of it, you have to have 40 something other SKUs in order to even have that. It's like you're putting a lot of eggs in that Drew Estate basket.
There's also a factor of there's certain companies, I'm not going to name company names, but there's certain companies that have almost seems like a marching order from the top brass that they are to party with the shop owners. So let's go out for drinks. Let me bring you this bottle. Let's hang out after hours. And because cigars is such a relationship business, that if you can build your business solely on the relationship, you can pull the blinder over a retailer's eyes and say, all right, now you're carrying 48 facings of what? Of something that sits there mostly so that you can have something that moves?
Yeah. Well, and that's why it's good that Dave has Ed Santa Maria.
It's also good that Dave doesn't drink.
Well, that's true too.
And honestly, really, neither does Ed Santa Maria. So they are impervious to the party culture. They both go to bed early. I do too. They both go to bed early.
Yeah.
And they get up early and they look forward to coming to work and they want to do work while they're at work. It's not party time.
Now, if anybody ever realized that Dave you just take him out for some really nice, good food, if that were the thing.
Yeah, he ain't going.
No, okay.
He's got so few true friends in the industry in that way. He's friendly.
Yeah.
He's friendly with everybody.
Well, of course.
true friends where, all right, you're going to take his time away from his grandson because
Yeah,
you came up. Probably not.
probably not. Well, that's good. That's good. Well, I have concluded my Aladino here. You're getting close there, I can
I'm
see.
getting close.
Yeah, I got to the point where it was starting to get a little warm near the fingertip, and I'm like, all right, I need to let that go. But
The regular line Aladino it burns considerably faster than the Corojo Reserve. Again, the lower primings just
yeah,
combust faster.
it makes sense. I brought out another one just in case, but I kind of feel like I probably don't need to worry about firing that up right now. So, remind everybody where they can watch the Meatball, because obviously, between you and Seth, we're wanting everybody to watch the Meatball here, because I want to
You
get
can go
our
right
people
to
there.
thecigarauthority.com and the video will play there automatically. I believe Ed Sullivan has Rumble set up so that there's virtually zero possibility we won't broadcast that event.
Okay.
You can also catch it on Facebook on the Cigar Authority Facebook page. You can follow us on YouTube, The Cigar Authority. And I
But
mean,
you don't release the Meatball as an audio podcast later.
no, this one's video only, and it's there for people to be able to watch this silly event. And again, like the cigar draft, we didn't know that people were going to be into it until we found out they were into it. So let's do it.
Why not?
And hopefully people are eating meatballs with us. Last year I remember I got tagged, I think, on Twitter. Somebody was eating meatballs along with us with spaghetti and sauce.
Perfect.
So, yeah, it's a good time.
Well, there you go. Well, I love it. And I do like a nice meatball, so that works out well.
May the best ball win.
May the best ball win. And anyway, well, where can everybody follow you?
I'm active on X at Mr. Jonathan. I'm on Facebook, Jonathan at Mr. J Barbeau, Barbeau. I am still on MeWe. If you're on MeWe still.
I mean, I have a MeWe account. I
I
can't tell you the
haven't checked
last
it in a
time I've
while.
been on there in a long time. Yeah.
When was the last time you checked your MySpace?
Oh, I don't have that anymore. Is that even around anymore?
Yeah, it's still there. My page is still there.
No shit.
I go on maybe once a year and just look at it.
So, okay, let's talk about this for a minute. While we're talking socials, just for a moment, I want to pick your brain on this. I am utterly and completely fascinated by the impending death of TikTok. Not because I use TikTok, not because I care about TikTok, but I'm fascinated by it. So, like, you are aware that on January 19th, TikTok in the United States is going to go away.
Didn't Kevin O'Leary make a bid to buy it? Mr.
When was
Wonderful? Last week is when I heard the story.
I have
not seen it on X, so I don't know that it's true.
All news that I'm aware of at this point states that as of January 19th, TikTok will be no more in the United States.
Which,
and
there's got to be a reason. And if that's the case, that's the case. I mean, they're using the platform to spy on Americans.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't want to, I'm looking at it. Yes, you're right. There's got to be a reason why no U.S. company was either allowed or why a buyout didn't take place for the U.S. interests in that company. But what I'm fascinated by is this is the first time in the lifetime of social media that we're seeing a social media platform die a unnatural death. Meaning MySpace died out because Facebook came along, users left MySpace, went over to Facebook, and MySpace just kind of fizzled to the point where it's just not a thing anymore. You can make an argument that Facebook has been dying a slow death. Users migrating away from there, going initially to Instagram, Snapchat, eventually TikTok, all these other various platforms. And that the user base on Facebook is getting older. It's becoming much more commercial, things of that nature. But it's still around. It's still viable, and it's still going. But TikTok is the first one where this is a platform that, admittedly, again, I didn't really use it. I have an account on there, but I don't I have like one video and I have maybe like 6 friends. I don't even know, but they're not even really friends. But like, I have six. It's like there's nothing to it, and for me anyway. And yet, this is a situation where millions and millions of people use it. Some people have literally created an entire career, if you want to call it that, as a content creator on there, to where that is their primary platform, and they're about to see their whole audience just completely disappear, and they're going to have to either pick a different platform and completely rebuild, or move on with their life and do something else. There's lots of revenue going through there. I didn't realize there was this shopping component to
Oh
TikTok.
yeah. I got
You
a buddy
know,
that does let's just say that he's able to afford his $4,000 a month apartment in Boston that he stays at once a week. He's huge on TikTok.
well, what's he doing now for revenue
Well,
if
he
this
does.
disappears?
He
And
he
so,
copies the same video that's going on TikTok and puts it on YouTube and he puts it on Facebook. So he has followers across all the platforms. If
yeah.
any one platform goes down or he gets booted, he still has the other platforms.
But if he's copying content from TikTok and putting it on those other platforms, and TikTok then goes away, where's he getting that content from?
Well, when I say copy, I mean he's the one. It's original content of his.
Oh,
So he
okay, okay,
uploads it to
okay, okay,
TikTok and YouTube and Facebook.
okay.
It is. I actually just confirmed. Kevin O'Leary, as of yesterday, said that he's standing by, ready to keep the deal alive for another 90 days, positioning himself for a January transition. Um, and that's if the decision comes down Tuesday, the 19th, that the executive branch, currently under President Biden, will have to decide if there are legitimate buyers, which it sounds like he is making a bid for it.
Okay. So it may still stick around. I'm extraordinarily fascinated by this. I just find this so interesting, and if it does go away, I'm very curious as to what that's going to look like, because like I said, this does fascinate me in terms of this is the first time we're seeing a social media platform die an unnatural death.
But it's not an unnatural death because it's known, and it says in O'Leary's post, I wasn't reading all 3 paragraphs, but it
Yeah.
says that they've been using the platform to capture all this information from their users, which are mostly people in the United States.
Oh, I'm sure.
So it's spyware that's
I'm not saying, yeah, and I'm not defending TikTok, and I look, I mean,
that's not an unnatural death.
yeah.
That's, oh, you let the cat out of the bag. This is what you're doing. That's a natural death. They had the choice not to do that, and they
I've
chose
also been
to do it.
I have read that apparently China gets more information from LinkedIn than they are from TikTok. So
That sounds like Chinese propaganda.
take that for what it's worth, though, too. Well, I mean, think about it. LinkedIn, we put a lot of information about ourselves on LinkedIn.
Do we?
Well, you may not, but the people that
Our
are uploading
jobs,
their resumes,
I guess, but that's
I don't personally really. I have a LinkedIn, but I can't tell you the last time I've been on there either. Let's put it this way: I've been on MeWe before since I've been on LinkedIn. Um, so I don't know. I find this whole situation with TikTok very fascinating.
yeah, it's interesting, and I think if Kevin O'Leary buys it, that it'll start doing the right thing, and I think this um, whatever they call it, the red wave that's coming across is just as predicted, I believe, on your show 3 years ago. The
Uh huh.
pendulum can only swing so far.
It's true.
Eventually, it needs to swing back. And what I hope happens is it does not swing so far to the right. It just kind of hangs in the middle and we start being normal again.
That would be nice. I'd really like for things to be normal again. I really, really would. But we'll see. Well, anyway. Well, on that note, I don't know how to close this thing out. So Meatball, we'll call that the red wave. That red wave of spaghetti sauce coming at you. You know.
I
Um,
hope you find the cologne you're looking for.
I'm telling you, there's something to this. Bolognese cologne there. I think Dave would be on board with that. He'd smell like tomato sauce.
I think he pretty much always smells like tomato sauce. If he
Oh,
came into work not smelling like tomato sauce, I'd be asking him where he was.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for taking time out of your day today. I appreciate it, man, and good luck at the meatball. Not
Thank
good
you. You're
luck
most
enough
welcome.
that you beat Seth, but good luck.
Oh, I'll beat Seth. I may come in fourth, but he's coming in last.
Oh shit. So we really want to thank Mr. Jonathan for coming on the show and taking time out of his day to discuss the meatball competition and cigars and everything else with us. And we wish him well, not as well as we wish Seth, but we wish him well nonetheless. So anyway, why don't we now go ahead and do this? It's time to fly high with Blackbird Cigars. Blackbird Cigars offers you remarkable quality using the most delicate and finest tobacco to always ensure that you're receiving unsurpassed cigars. Blackbird Cigars strives to give you undoubted repeating flavor for every cigar you smoke and impressive quality so that you can always expect greatness. Check out their website for a full list of stores carrying Blackbird Cigars and give them a test flight. Blackbird Cigars can't clip our wings. So at just 17 years old, Julianne Kopke was the only survivor of a 1971 plane crash above the Peruvian rainforest. The commercial airliner was struck by lightning and broke into pieces 2 miles above the ground. Kopke fell out, still strapped into her seat, and landed with relatively minor injuries. Being the only survivor, she followed a moving stream downriver to locate civilization. After 9 days, she discovered a shelter and remained inside, treating her bug bites with gasoline until the lumbermen who used the shelter arrived and could ferry her to safety. Kopke grew up to be a biologist. So guys, be like Julianne Kopke and Blackbird Cigars and don't let anybody clip your wings. So in terms of the socials, after my conversation with Mr. Jonathan, we'll get to my socials. I am on Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. I'm on Facebook where you can find the Pulpit Parishioners group. It's a fun little group there. We all share our cigars and kind of just chat amongst each other there. I'm on Twitter/X. I am on Rumble if you want to watch the show. It's a YouTube-like platform. You go on there, create an account, sign up, subscribe to the Cigar Pulpit so you don't miss a show. It's a good way of catching me, especially since I am on YouTube for right now, but you never know when YouTube's going to finally pull the plug on tobacco content and kick me off. So if you want to watch on YouTube, I am on there as well. And for those of you who listen or use Spotify, I am on Spotify video as well, so you can watch us on there. And one last, two little reminders. First of all, I need your calls for Ask the Pulpit. Area code 863-874-0000. Call the hotline, leave a message. I still have no calls. So I can't do an Ask the Pulpit episode until you guys leave some messages. But more importantly, today, the day this episode drops, is Tuesday, January the 14th. End of day tomorrow. End of day, Wednesday, January 15th. That is it for voting for the Parishioners Cigar of the Year. If you guys want to vote for the Parishioners Cigar of the Year, you can go and check out the ballot. Go to cigarpulpit.com. The first entry on there has a little graphic. Just click on that. It'll take you to the Google Doc. You can fill out the Google Doc. You can cast your ballot for Cigar of the Year. And there's like 30-something cigars listed there. All of them were nominated by parishioners. I had nothing to do with the nominations. Everything on that ballot was put in by parishioners. All the voting is done by parishioners. So this is the Cigar of the Year vote that is 100% consumer listener driven. I have no say in this at all. So guys, let your voice be heard. Go over to cigarpulpit.com right now. Cast your last minute ballot for the Cigar of the Year, and unless schedules change and everything, I will be reaching out to the winner that Wednesday night, after everything concludes. Hopefully, I can get some things put together quickly on Thursday to where then on Friday or Tuesday, give me some wiggle room. I'm hoping I can make the announcement on Friday the 17th, but it may be Tuesday the 21st before I'm able to. But we'll see. We'll figure it out one way or the other. You guys will know what the cigar of the year is here soon, and we can go from there. Anyway, guys, otherwise, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick. Everybody, stay safe and stay smoky. Don't forget to watch the Meatball competition on thecigarauthority.com on Friday, January 24th. Later on, guys.